Hey everyone, I wanted to do a quick video to show you um, what the first assignment, the first essay, actually looks like and explain it a little further for you. So if you go to assignments in Blackboard, you'll go to Unit 1, the rhetorical analysis. And since this is writing in the disciplines, English 112, students are learning how to write different essays in certain program of studies. The first we're going to do is cultural studies. You'll notice too that I have due dates here, rough draft, and then a final draft. So you'll click here, and then you'll have 3 folders. You'll have reading assignments, writing assignments, and helpful resources. You will need to click on reading assignments first and go through here and click on all of these. This right here is just strictly for reference. You don't need to go through and read every single chapter that's listed in here, but this is just for reference. You do need to read these 2 sections here. And then you've got this right here, just guides thinking and what it means to give a rhetorical analysis. You do not answer these questions and submit them. It's just for reading purposes. And then you have an instructor video here. It's me telling you how to set up an MLA essay. And you do not want point deductions for not setting up an essay in MLA format. So you definitely click on this video and watch how it's done so that you'll know how. The first 2 essays that we will be writing in this class will be in MLA. The others will be in APA. So we want to stick to MLA right now, and this shows you how to set up that essay. All right, going back. Instead of clicking on writing assignments, you want to go to helpful resources, and it says student sample essay inside. It's very important that you go down through here and you look at all of these links, all of these. They're not optional. You definitely want to look at this one about appeals, okay, because it's going to be a part of your essay. So you definitely want to look at that. There's some tips for writing a rhetorical analysis, and then I've provided a sample, because what this essay is you're going to choose a famous movie speech or a historical speech to analyze. You're going to analyze the effectiveness of it, the persuasiveness of it, and what techniques the speaker uses to convince their audience. So I provided a clip from Footloose, and I don't know if any of you have seen that. There's been a remake. You guys have probably seen the remake, but this is from the older Footloose. And here it gives you a little bit of background information of the movie. And then Ren McCormick, who is the main character, he gives a speech to the town council. It's called A Time to Dance. And he gives it hoping that the town council will change their decision about letting the seniors of that high school in that particular town have a dance. So we're looking at how the speaker is affecting his audience here. Now again, nobody can write their rhetorical analysis about this movie at all because I'm using it as an example. So you'll need to choose another one. If you scroll down, it says sample rhetorical analysis. This here, if you click on it, is a sample rhetorical analysis of this speech. So you kind of see it in play. You get to see the speech, and then you get to see how it was analyzed. And how this, I actually wrote this essay, and it tells how the speaker did an effective job of using persuasive techniques to convince the town council, because at the very end I did note that the town council did change their mind ultimately. So this here is just it's a PowerPoint that tells a little bit about the rhetorical analysis that you need to read through. These next 2 links just provide reference sources, okay, reference links. MLA resources, handouts, and tutorials. Anything you need to know about MLA is right here. You are going to be setting your essay up in MLA format, and you're also going to be citing a source, and that source is going to be your movie speech. Typically with one source, students, according to MLA, do not have to cite the source since there's only one. But we're going to get into the swing of things, and I want students to get familiar with citing sources, citing information that is not their own. So yes, students will be citing their speech. There's no outside research other than the speech needed in this essay. So I'll show you that in just a second. This gives all the information you need to know, especially the MLA cheat sheet about an MLA essay that includes documentation, which is what you're going to do with the speech. This section has information about plagiarism, Again, plagiarism is not just copying and pasting. There's many different types of plagiarism, and I want students to be able to know how to avoid it, how to recognize it, and making sure that you understand what plagiarism is so it doesn't happen with your essays, because there are consequences for that. So we want to be sure that we write original work, and then when we use sources that we give credit. If you need assistance with your writing throughout this course, not just with this paper, but throughout the course, I have provided a little folder down here. It says the Writing Center Assistance. If you click on this, it'll take you to information that will get you to the Writing Center, and you can do this online, virtually. They are very helpful with proofreading, editing, outlining, organization, documentation, and so forth. So if you need extra assistance, they are there to help you, and it's free to CVCC students. So that link is there for you. All right, so those are the resources, and it's very important you look at all of them. Now the writing assignments. First and foremost, I put the 2 assignments up here in the due dates. I always do that. You'll see that in every unit. So you have a rough draft and you have a final draft that is required. Your rough draft is required, and your rough draft should give your full best effort and should be the full length, and it's going to be averaged in. That grade is going to be averaged in with your final draft. So please don't submit just, a list or brainstorming for the rough draft. The rough draft has to be a full essay, and it has to be complete. It has to align with the instructions, and it needs to give your best effort. I'll give you feedback on the rough draft, and then you can make those corrections, and then you'll submit a final draft. No matter what your grade is on your rough draft, if you make 100 on your rough draft, you still need to submit a final draft, so you'll just resubmit it. But please understand, if you do not make changes from the feedback that I provide on your rough draft, your final draft is going to reflect that. Your final draft will likely have a lower score than your rough draft. So please make corrections. Always submit a final. These 2 are required. Rough draft and final draft are always required. But I will give you some really good feedback so you can correct it. And then I have students that make hundreds on the final draft because of that. So just make sure you make any necessary corrections, because it's only going to help you with future essays and your writing. This explains a little bit about what the rhetorical analysis is and what the field of cultural studies is. And since you guys are analyzing a movie speech, we're thinking about, culture and what it means to persuade someone of something, or to convince someone of something based on tools that basically our society and culture use to be persuasive. So here are your 2 submission links. Okay, you've got a rough draft here. Do not submit final draft here. Do not submit rough draft here. Make sure you submit to the correct link. So you'll click this link, and that's how you submit your rough draft. But if you look below, I've got 2 documents here. I've got a rubric that tells you how the essay will be scored, and then I give you the essay instructions. Okay, so I'm going to click on the essay instructions. Okay, I need everyone to read these instructions closely. For the first essay, you're going to examine the effectiveness of a popular movie or historical speech. You will be picking your speech from this website right here. Your speech must come from this website. So you can copy and paste it to your browser, and then you can go in and search. There are tons of movie speeches, historical speeches in this link. So you have to use this speech database is basically what it is to find your speech. This is an analysis. This is not a summary. The only place that you're really going to summarize your speech would be in your introduction, and that's just briefly. Your entire essay should not be a summary. It should be an analysis. And the speech that you choose, again, needs to be persuasive, motivational, argumentative even, in nature. So the goal is to analyze, not summarize. The essay should be at least two full pages, and I mean full pages to the end. It can go over that, maybe 1 or 2 pages, but I would not go any further. Keep within the length requirement. Your third page or the last page of your essay You'll have 2 pages of essay, and then your third page will be your works cited page, and that will include just one source, and that's going to be the speech. And if you look on the next page, and I'll show you in just a second, I've actually shown you how to cite it. So you'll be able to look at that and know exactly how to cite your speech. Organization. You have an introduction paragraph. And guys, if you look here, I tell you exactly what you should include in these paragraphs. Start out with an attention grabber. Connect that to the next sentence in some way or shape or form. Summarize this speech. Make sure you name the speech and the movie that it came from. Give a brief summary of what's happening in your movie at this moment. Don't summarize the movie. This is not an analysis of the movie. This is an analysis of the movie speech. So please make sure you understand that. So you can give a little context for the speech, why the speech was given and who the speaker is. The last sentence of your introduction should be a thesis statement, whether or not the speech is effective and how it relates to contemporary American culture. You know, how can we benefit from that speech today in American culture? Body paragraphs, you should have at least 3. You will use at least 2 out of the 3 rhetorical appeals. Now, you'll need to see the appeals link that I told you about in the resource folder. You want to look at the appeals, ethos, logos, and pathos, and you'll want to study those and determine which appeals are used in the specified speech that you chose. You'll want to, you could look at other tools used by the speaker, that makes it effective, like using repetition, or the setting of the speech might be really important. So you want to focus on what strategies the speaker uses, okay? But you have to use at least 2 of the appeals. So one body paragraph may be about logos and how logos is used in the speech. Another paragraph may be about pathos and how pathos is used in the speech to affect the audience. And then the setting of the speech I may talk about because of how important it is, and I'll explain the importance of it. So to develop and support your points, you will need to use specific evidence in the form of examples and short quotes from the speech. Use and cite all quotes. If you look at the student sample shows how the quotes are cited within the essay and how it's cited on the works cited. Then you'll have a conclusion, and your conclusion will summarize your analysis. If you look on the next page, I've given some rules for this paper. No contractions. Contractions are like don't, won't, can't, aren't. You write those out. Will not, is not, are not, could not. So you want to write those out. No first person, so no using these words in there. MLA format, see the video I provided. Proofread and edit for grammar errors. This is very important. I have a lot of students who are submitting essays with lowercase i's. Don't do that. Proofread and edit for grammar. Those are points that you don't need deducted from your essay. Have somebody else look over it to check for grammar. You can also upload your essay to Grammarly.com for free, and they'll edit or help you figure out your grammar errors. Then you need to cite the one source on a works cited page and within the essay. Here's the citation information, guys. When you cite your source is going to look just like this because all of your sources all the speeches are coming from American Rhetoric website. It's going to look like this. You just need to change your movie speech title. I've given the example here of Legally Blonde, and then the year. That's all you're changing. And then, of course, the URL. The URL should be specific to your speech. And then when you cite this source within your essay, you cite what begins the citation, which is Ed Muller. So here's an example. Direct quotes, and then you have Ed Muller afterwards. So it's all right here for you on how you cite it. So this goes on your works cited page with you changing the information needed to fit your speech, and then this is always how you cite that source within your essay. And down here at the bottom, I've just listed a couple movie speeches and historical speeches that students have chosen in the past. Again, you're not going to write about the Footloose speech because I use that as an example. But if you look, there are tons here, but you can also go into the American Rhetoric website, and there's still more in there too. So certainly feel free to choose one of these and a speech from one of these, and then or you can go look on your own. But I just want you to understand that this is an analysis of a movie speech, not an analysis of a movie as a whole. If any of you have any questions about this assignment, please don't hesitate to contact me before the rough draft is due. Thank you and have a good day.